The metallic screech of bolt cutters tearing through steel. That's the sound that ripped the peaceful afternoon right in half. I was hunched over my grandfather's old workbench, just fixing a hinge, when that sound, like a chainsaw through silence, tore through Pine Valley. My hands froze. They were cutting straight through the heavy steel lock I'd put on the front gate, and I knew exactly who it was. Miranda Blackstone, the power-hungry HOA president, leading a crew of what looked like fake cops straight into my cabin. She thought she owned the place, but Miranda had absolutely no idea that my grandfather had left me a very big surprise, and that a very real SWAT team was already waiting in the shadows. Want to guess who was waiting for her? Comment below. But let me back up 3 weeks, because you need to understand how a simple carpenter like me, Jake Morrison, ended up in a chess match with people who destroy communities for profit. It all started when I inherited Henry's cabin. It was a 100-year-old log structure, sitting like a stubborn middle finger among the million-dollar glass mansions of Pine Valley, Colorado. The place belonged to a different century. Hand-hewn beams, a stone chimney my great-great-grandfather built. I was there 2 weeks when I realized Grandpa didn't just leave me a house. He left me a mission. I was prying up a loose floorboard when I noticed it sounded hollow. After 20 minutes of cursing, I found a hidden panel, a narrow ladder descending into what should have been a crawl space. Instead, I found myself standing in a basement room I never knew existed. It was a setup that would make a private investigator weep. Multiple monitors lined the wall, connected to a modern surveillance system with clear views of every major intersection, entrance, and meeting spot in Pine Valley. Next to the main computer, a leather-bound notebook, my name on the cover in Grandpa's distinctive handwriting. Jake, if you're reading this, it means they have started moving again. I've been preparing the system for 10 years to protect Pine Valley. Learn how to use it. The community depends on it now. The notebook was full of detailed observations, names, dates, license plates, Operation Mountain Sweep. The name that appeared most frequently? Miranda Blackstone. I booted the system. 5 full years of time-stamped video files. Grandpa hadn't just been watching the neighborhood. He'd been conducting systematic surveillance of an organized conspiracy. I clicked on a file from last month. A grainy video of Miranda arguing heatedly outside my cabin at midnight with a tall, expensive-looking man, a corporate executive maybe. He pointed aggressively at my cabin. She shook her head, terrified. This wasn't HOA business. This was something dark. Then I found the manila envelope taped to the bottom of the desk. Photocopied documents, property records, legal filings, correspondence with Pacific Holdings. Grandpa's note sealed it. Jake, Pacific Holdings isn't just buying property, they're stealing communities. Miranda is either their accomplice or their victim, but either way she's dangerous. The responsibility hit me like a truck. I wasn't just fixing a cabin, I was the keeper of the evidence that could expose a massive organized fraud and extortion scheme. I climbed back up that ladder, replaced the hidden panel, and made a decision. I wasn't going to be pushed around. I had inherited a war room, and the war was just beginning. The first shot came 48 hours later. Expensive heels clicking up my porch steps. Miranda, in her perfectly pressed business suit, holding a manila folder thick enough to choke a horse, and wearing the kind of smile that sharks probably practice. "Good morning, Jake," she dripped with fake sweetness. "The HOA board has identified several significant building code infractions that require immediate attention. You have 30 days to remedy these issues or face penalties totaling $75,000. The violations were extensive and creative: fire safety codes, modern sprinkler requirements, wheelchair accessibility, all designed to cost maximum hassle. And every single code had been updated and approved just 1 week ago. The timing was not just obvious. It was a confession. I made some strategic moves. First, I arranged to meet the building inspector, Tommy Brennan. I hid a digital recorder in my pocket. Tommy was nervous, checking his phone. When I pressed him about the 1-week code turnaround, his phone buzzed. He answered without thinking. "Yeah, Miranda, I'm with him now." He caught himself, sweating, and backed away. My recorder caught every nervous pause, every telling inflection. My second call was to Ethel Henderson, the 75-year-old former court clerk who knew everything. She invited me in for tea and an eye-opening conversation. "Oh, honey," she said, settling into her armchair. "Miranda's been playing this game for years. You're the 5th family she's targeted. They all sold for way below market value rather than fight the legal battles." But Ethel wasn't just gossiping. She was organizing. "We've started a Pine Valley Legal Defense Fund," she whispered. 15 families have committed. We're not going to let Miranda and her cronies destroy our community, one manufactured crisis at a time. That night, someone spray-painted "Stop or Else" across my front door in red letters. But instead of fear, I felt a hardening resolve. They were scared, and scared people could be beaten. Then Miranda escalated. She filed a police report claiming I was stalking and harassing her, using fake recordings of my voice-making threats. Sophisticated AI software had cloned my speech. She was counting on small-town law enforcement not having the resources to detect synthetic audio. Thanks to Ethel's fund, I hired Tom Chen, a lawyer who specialized in HOA disputes. Tom found Miranda's law license had been suspended in California for fraudulent real estate practices. "She knows enough law to be dangerous," Tom warned, "but not enough to avoid making desperate mistakes." We scheduled a public HOA meeting. I planned to expose everything: the cash payments, the fake credentials, the AI-generated evidence. I went to bed confident. I woke up in a jail cell. 3 sheriff's deputies had arrived with an arrest warrant based on Miranda's fabricated harassment complaint. The timing was perfect. By arresting me the morning of the meeting, Miranda ensured I couldn't present my evidence, and the community would see me as the unhinged aggressor. Sitting in that cold cell, I thought about Grandpa. Sometimes people will use the very system that's supposed to protect you to attack you instead. When that happens, you have to be smarter than— Alone in my cabin, restoring the files, I finally understood the machine I was fighting. Pacific Holdings hadn't just targeted Pine Valley. They had a systematic playbook for community acquisition across the entire Rocky Mountain region. Find a local official to bribe, manufacture legal chaos, drive down values, then buy the land cheap. But the most damaging information came from the tunnel system. I accessed the vantage point beneath Ethel's house and listened to Miranda's latest phone call. She wasn't the mastermind. She was crying, begging someone named David Sterling, CEO of Pacific Holdings, for more time. Miranda, sobbing. "Please, David, I need another month. The Morrison boy is more stubborn than his grandfather, and the community is starting to ask questions. I can't just make him disappear like the others." Sterling, cold, authoritative. "You owe me $3.5 million, Miranda. Pine Valley clears that debt or you lose everything. Your house, your reputation, your freedom. Handle the Morrison situation permanently, or I'll find someone who can." The revelation hit me like a physical blow. Miranda was a desperate accomplice, trapped by gambling debts Sterling arranged. And worse, Sterling's casual threat about handling me the way he handled my grandfather confirmed my darkest suspicion. Grandpa Henry hadn't died of natural causes. He was murdered. I wasn't just fighting for a cabin. I was fighting to avenge my grandfather's murder and save my community from a $20 billion real estate empire. Sterling called me directly, his voice smooth, confident, threatening. "Take $500,000 for your grandfather's cabin and disappear. Or continue this foolish resistance and discover what happened to other people who've interfered with my business operations." I hung up. His desperation was palpable. I was winning. The endgame came faster than I expected. Sterling moved past harassment into direct action. 3 black SUVs arrived at dawn, disgorging men in tactical gear, his acquisition team. They were setting up a command post, but Grandpa had one last card. In a steel lockbox beneath the tunnel, I found his final legacy: Operation Last Stand, instructions and contact information for FBI agents who had been tracking Pacific Holdings for federal racketeering. Grandpa hadn't been fighting local cops. He was building a federal case. I called Agent Jennifer Walsh, the FBI organized crime specialist. She'd been waiting for exactly the kind of evidence my tunnel system could provide. The trap was set. I made the final call to Miranda, my voice defeated. "I can't fight anymore." Sterling wins. "I'll sign whatever papers he wants and get out of Pine Valley." Miranda's relief was audible, quickly replaced by guilt. "Jake, I'm sorry it came to this," she whispered. Sterling arrived that afternoon with his acquisition team. 4 men dressed as police officers, carrying bolt cutters and electronic security disabling devices. Sterling himself stayed in the black sedan, directing operations. As Sterling's fake cops cut through my gate locks and advanced toward the cabin, they walked into a carefully orchestrated ambush. Cinematic climax: the ambush. Image: The 4 fake cops stand frozen at the cabin door, which has just been kicked open. Instead of finding a defeated man, they are face to face with Agent Walsh and 3 other FBI agents in tactical gear, weapons leveled. The light is harsh and sudden. Fake cop leader, voice cracking. "Wah, what is this?" "We're local." Agent Walsh, calm, voice cold as ice. "This is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. David Sterling, you are under arrest for racketeering, conspiracy, fraud, and ordering the murder of Henry Morrison." Image, cut to Sterling in the black sedan, watching the scene on a monitor. His face is a mask of disbelief and utter defeat. I was broadcasting the live stream from the tunnel system. Thousands watched as FBI agents arrested Sterling. His panicked attempts to claim he was a legitimate businessman were drowned out by Agent Walsh's voice, which read out his charges. Then, Sterling's phone rang, and the call was broadcast live. An investor demanding to know why federal agents were raiding Pacific Holdings offices in 5 different states simultaneously. His entire network was collapsing in real time. Miranda surrendered immediately at her house, looking relieved to be free of Sterling's control. As I emerged from the tunnel system and walked toward my cabin, now a federal crime scene, I felt Grandpa Henry's presence more strongly than ever. He had spent the last years of his life building a network and evidence that would survive his murder and ultimately bring justice. The aftermath. The legal aftermath was swift. David Sterling got an 18-year federal sentence for racketeering and ordering Grandpa's murder. Miranda's cooperation earned her immunity, but the community required her to pay $200,000 in restitution. The day before she moved away, she admitted she was wrong, trapped, and sorry. I realized that sometimes justice includes making space for redemption. The cabin became the Pine Valley Community Heritage Center. The HOA was completely restructured, with Jake elected as the new president, operating with a mandate of service and transparency. The surveillance system was repurposed as a community security network. Grandpa's final gift, a video message, explained his philosophy. "The camera system I built isn't just about watching the bad guys, Jake. It's about preserving the spirit of places like Pine Valley for future generations." I still look out at the community that survived its greatest threat. To protect your community, sometimes you have to fight. But real victory is when people come together again, trust each other again. That's the legacy worth leaving behind. Call to action. This story shows that the real enemy isn't always the HOA bully. Sometimes it's a corporate giant pulling the strings. Have you ever felt powerless against people who abuse their authority, using systems and rules to intimidate? Like Jake, ordinary people can outsmart powerful predators when they're prepared and united. If stories like this inspire you to protect what matters, hit the like button and subscribe to HOA Secrets. We believe justice over greed always wins.